The baby's cries were weak. The night was cold. The wind howled through the trees, shaking the branches like angry spirits. Nobody came for her. She had been left at the base of an old tree, wrapped in a dirty cloth. Her tiny fingers twitched, her breaths were shallow. The village path was empty. The only sound was the distant hoot of an owl. If nobody found her soon, she would not see the morning. Then, footsteps. Slow, careful. A shadow moved through the trees. Papa Ifani, the palm wine tapper, stopped when he saw the bundle on the ground. His heart pounded. Who would leave a child here? He bent down, touching her face. She was cold. Too cold. He lifted her into his arms, and she let out a faint cry. "You will not die today," he whispered. "I will take care of you." Without looking back, he carried her home. Papa Ifani sat by the fire, watching the baby sleep. She was small, fragile. He had wrapped her in a soft cloth and fed her warm goat's milk. Her tiny chest rose and fell. She was alive. That was all that mattered. The villagers would talk. They would ask questions. They would say she was cursed, that a child left in the forest could only bring misfortune. But Papa Ifani did not care. He had lost his wife and son to sickness years ago. His house had been empty for too long. He touched the baby's cheek and whispered, "From today, your name is Adanna. My daughter. And I will never let anyone hurt you." The next morning, Papa Ifani walked into the village with Adanna strapped to his back. People stared. Women whispered behind their hands. "Where did he find that child?" one woman asked. "He picked her from the forest," another replied. "Who knows what spirit left her there?" Papa Ifani ignored them. He bought fresh yam from the market and returned home. But the rumors spread. Some said Adanna would bring him bad luck. Others said she was the daughter of a wandering spirit. But as the years passed, Adanna grew strong and beautiful. She helped Papa Ifani with his palm wine business. She climbed trees and carried calabashes like a man. The villagers still whispered, but they also admired her. "She works harder than the boys in this village," an old man once said. Papa Ifani only smiled. Adanna was no curse. She was his blessing. Years later, the village was buzzing with news. Chidi was coming home. He had left for Lagos as a boy and was now a rich businessman. His father and Papa Ifani had made a promise long ago. Chidi and Adanna would marry when he returned. But that was before Chidi became important, before he built a life in the city. Adanna had heard about him but barely remembered him. Now, she wondered, would he still want to marry a village girl? Would he look at her the way the other young men did? Or would he think she was beneath him? She pushed the thoughts aside and focused on her work. Whatever happened, she would face it with her head held high. The day Chidi arrived, the village gathered to welcome him. He stepped out of a black jeep, dressed in fine clothes. Women gasped. He was tall, handsome, and confident. But his eyes held no warmth. Papa Ifani brought Adanna forward. "This is Adanna," he said. "The girl you are to marry." Chidi barely looked at her. "I see," he said, adjusting his wristwatch. "Nice to meet you." Adanna's heart sank. He did not remember her. He did not care. But she would not let that break her. If he thought she was just another village girl, he would soon learn who she really was. valuable lesson and advice. This story teaches us that true worth is not determined by where we come from but by who we choose to become. Adanna was abandoned, judged, and looked down upon, but she did not let that define her. She worked hard, remained strong, and proved that she was a blessing, not a curse. Just like Adanna, we must never allow society's opinions to shape our destiny. We should believe in ourselves, work hard, and never be afraid to show the world who we truly are. Love is not about wealth or status, but about character and heart. Chidi will soon have to learn that lesson. Will he choose love over pride? Stay tuned for part 2. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our page for more amazing stories. Thank you for your support.